Philadelphia News, team of my heart.
You ever get that feeling? That uneasy mix of excitement and tension? Like something great is happening, but just beneath it, there's a storm building. Yeah, that's exactly where you are right now as a Sixers fan. 2 games in, undefeated, 2-0, and it feels good, right? The team's energy, the crowd at the Wells Fargo Center, the way Philly breathes hope again. But deep down, you sense it. Something's not sitting right. There's a decision quietly brewing inside the Sixers locker room that could shake things up faster than anyone expected. And trust me, this one's going to divide the fan base, you included. Before you even think you know what this is about, no, it's not Embiid. It's not even about Tyrese Maxey's hot start or Paul George fitting in. This, my friend, is something that hits right at the heart of how this team will survive the grind of the season. And I'm going to challenge you right now. Try to guess who this story's really about before I reveal it later. Drop your guess in the comments and let's see if you catch it before most people do. Because here's the thing, every championship team has that one hidden decision that defines the season. The kind of move that either builds trust in the locker room or tears it apart. And for the Sixers, that moment is happening right now, under everyone's nose. You might not see it on the highlight reels, you won't catch it in the box scores. But when I tell you this situation could decide whether the Sixers keep their early momentum or lose it before Christmas, I mean it. Think about this. 2 wins, both tough, both against teams that actually outplayed Philly for large stretches. You saw it. The Sixers were grinding, scrapping, clawing through possessions, staying alive because when it mattered, someone always stepped up. That's Philly basketball. That's you. That's what this city's about. But behind those wins, behind Nick Nurse's rotations, there's a quiet tug-of-war that could determine how far this team really goes. See, it's not just about who's scoring more. It's about chemistry. It's about trust. And it's about a position that most fans only talk about when things go wrong. The big man behind the big man. The one who protects the rim when Embiid sits. The one who brings energy, hustle, and that Philly grit when the team starts slipping. Yeah, that's the spot. And right now, it's up for grabs. Nick Nurse, the mastermind, is standing at a crossroads. On one side, he's got youth, raw energy, a spark that represents the future. On the other, he's got experience, power, IQ, someone who's been through the wars and still has enough left in the tank to flip a game on his head. Both men are hungry. Both know this is their shot to lock in a real role on a contending team. And the way Nurse handles this could either bring the team closer together or leave fans arguing all year long. You can almost feel the tension when they're on the floor. Each minute, each rebound, each missed rotation suddenly matters. Because this isn't just about minutes. It's about identity. Are the Sixers a team building for the future, or are they going all in right now? That's the real question. The irony? Both guys have already shown flashes of what they can bring. One gave glimpses of brilliance late last season. Young legs, fearless defense, the kind of energy that makes you want to believe in the next generation. The other? Well, he reminded everyone that experience still matters. That sometimes knowing where to be is more valuable than just being fast enough to get there. And if you watched the first 2 games closely, you probably saw the contrast play out in real time. One guy started first. The other guy barely saw the floor at all until the next game when suddenly he changed everything. He anchored the paint, shifted the tone, helped Philly close strong. You could feel it in the arena. That's the kind of presence that doesn't show up in analytics. That's the kind of performance that whispers to the coach, "You can't keep me on the bench." Now imagine being in Nick Nurse's shoes. You got a team that's clicking early, but you know every minute you give one of them is a minute the other loses. It's a balance between patience and urgency, and the city of Philadelphia doesn't do patience very well. You know that. You've lived it. You are that. So what happens next? That's where the real tension lies. Does Nick Nurse trust the process again, betting on youth, upside, and development? Or does he stay loyal to the vets, leaning on a battle-tested body that still has enough left to win now? Because let's be real, Philly fans want both. You want to win today, but you also want to see the future taking shape. You want to feel like this team's not just surviving the regular season, but building something sustainable. But sometimes you can't have both. And that's where this story gets uncomfortable. Because no matter which way Nick Nurse turns, someone's going to feel overlooked. And that's when you'll start hearing it. The noise, the opinions, the endless Sixers news chatter, the trade talk, the frustration. Philly fans will pick sides, and this quiet dilemma will explode into the spotlight. So here's my question to you. When that moment comes, when the choice finally becomes clear, which side will you be on?
You know that moment when everything feels fine on the surface, but deep down you can sense that something's about to shift? That's exactly what's brewing right now inside this Sixers team. Because behind those early wins, behind the smiles, there's a question every player, coach, and fan is starting to ask. Who really deserves that backup spot? And trust me, it's not as simple as numbers on a stat sheet. Nick Nurse is watching every possession like a hawk. He knows this decision could shape the team's rhythm for months. And you, as a fan, you can feel it. Every rebound, every screen, every block means more than it should this early in the season. Because it's not just about who comes off the bench, it's about who keeps this team's energy alive when Embiid sits down. Now, you know how Philly works. This city doesn't wait for things to settle. You demand effort, fight, and production now. That's why this whole thing has people split, because both players bring something you love, but also something that makes you hesitate. One represents the future, the development, the growth, the excitement of seeing young potential unfold. The other brings that instant impact, that sense of security that says, relax, I got this. And after what happened last season, that security matters, because when the Sixers needed stability, they didn't always get it. When Embiid went down, the floor felt like quicksand. You remember it. You felt it. Every rebound the team failed to grab, every possession that slipped away, it hurt. You don't forget that kind of pain. So when a veteran steps up and reminds everyone what consistency looks like, it's hard to ignore. But here's where it gets tricky. The kid deserves his shot. You've seen flashes. Those stretches late last year where he blocked shots, ran the floor, showed promise. That stuff excites you, right? Because it's not just about now, it's about believing there's something special growing in Philly's future. But every time the Sixers hit a rough patch, you start to wonder, is it worth waiting for him to figure it out when you've got someone proven, ready to roll, sitting right there? Fans are already choosing sides. You hear it in the bars, you see it in the comment sections, you feel it in the debates online. Half of you are saying, play the young guy, let him learn, while the other half are saying, we've been waiting long enough, we need wins today. That's the beauty and the curse of being a Sixers fan. You care too much. And that's why this dilemma stinks deeper than you might admit. Nick Nurse, for his part, is doing what any sharp coach does, experimenting, adjusting, testing the waters. He gave one guy the nod first, and the other barely touched the floor. But when opportunity came knocking in Game 2, something changed. You saw it. The energy, the hustle, the leadership. He wasn't flashy, but he was loud in all the right ways. You could almost feel the team feeding off his presence. And that's when the debate turned into something real. Suddenly, the question wasn't just who's next up, but who fits better. The game slowed down, and you realized this isn't just about potential anymore. It's about results. And Philly, man, Philly's never been a city that waits for tomorrow when it can win today. So when Nurse sits in that film room, you know this decision is tearing at him. It's not just about picking a player. It's about defining what kind of Sixers team this is going to be. The one that bets on youth and development, or the one that leans on veteran toughness to grind through the season. You, watching all this unfold, probably already made your pick in your head. But ask yourself, if you were in Nick Nurse's shoes, what would you do? Would you stick with the kid, knowing it might cost a few games early? Or would you go with the seasoned veteran, even if it means slowing the future down a bit? Because that's the crossroads right there. And whether you realize it or not, you're living through one of those small storylines that could decide how far this team actually goes. And now, since you've stayed with me this far, you deserve to know who this quiet storm centers around. It's the battle between Adema Bona and Andre Drummond. Two completely different players, two completely different timelines. One spot. Now tell me, who would you choose? Drop your answer in the comments, and if you made it here, comment the word loyalty, so I know you're one of the real ones still believing in Philly's heart. Because this This is just getting started, and you're going to want to be here when the next chapter hits.